Welcome everybody to the watch list right here in the Latin Nerds Network. We're ready to give you all the recommendations for all the shows released on streaming this week. And of course, at the end of the show, we'll let you know what's coming out so you can create your very own watch list. We're here a little bit later than usual with my co-host, Senor Jaime, aka Chewy. What's going on?
Hey, brother, what's happening, man?
Middle of fantasy football battling. Last week I got Jefferson. This week I got Hild, apparently. So,
Jesus Christ, Tyreek Hill. Holy cow.
Jesus,
Woo.
can't catch a break, but I still have a chance. But that being said, yeah, I got slaughtered.
Yeah. And now I say we split because in our home league you beat me. No, I beat you, and then in the other league, buddy league, you beat me.
Yeah,
so
and I'm still in that one as well. But I
yeah.
think I might lose this week. Whatever, it's early. It is what it is. It's a weird football year as it always is. But in between there's stuff to watch and check out in between all the highlights. And just be honest, football is just basically 2 days a week. I guess Thursdays, 3 days, but whatever. That being said, yeah, it was an interesting week of TV viewing. A lot of stuff I'm sure Chewy's going to love because he loves some of that YA content.
Oh, stop hating, dude.
Nobody's hating, dude. I'm just congratulating your ability to indulge yourself in such things. That's just saying. And that being said, let's start here. Of course, we always start off with. Well, actually, no. We got some. I hate to start off the show like this. I mean, pretty soon, maybe one of our fantasy teams may be in memoriam, but there is an in memoriam going on this week. And that is, of course, the very sad passing of a show called Paper Girls, which, yeah, Amazon canceled, I guess, last week or this week. Whatever, show we liked, but, I can't say I'm really going to be missing it a whole lot. I guess it wasn't a view, so a lot of people aren't going to be missing it. It was okay.
I am.
It was okay.
I am.
Okay.
I like it.
I would have seen a second season.
Yeah, I like time travel stuff, and this
it
is all
was fine. It was
essentially
fine.
about time travel.
But it wasn't one where it was like, oh my god, it was a must watch or anything like that. So I mean, it being canceled.
I mean, very few shows are must watch.
Well, that's a fair point.
But I mean, it was probably on the upper half of the shows that we were looked at.
I like the show, but I guess not people.
Clearly, Amazon put all its eggs in the fantasy realm. With Lord of the Rings, and so everywhere you look, Lord of the Rings, Lord of the Rings, Lord of the Rings. Every ad, Lord of the Rings.
$500 million
for obviously. That is true. That is true.
You got to make the money back.
So, but they're shopping the show around. Obviously, it wasn't an original Amazon production per se. So who knows?
It was picked up by somebody else. Who knows?
Yeah. There's lots of options.
Exactly.
So who knows?
It happens all the time. See. But as of now, it's a no-go. So my condolences to all the fans out there. Paper Girls, it is what it is. But there's other stuff to check out. None of which are fantasy teams as of right now. But that being said, maybe your team's doing better than ours at this point.
Hey, man, I got players right now that I'm missing for. Let's go.
That's a good point. They're going to score with or without you looking at it. So just take it easy.
Sure.
But let's get into a show. A couple of shows did end. I'm only going to talk about one of them. One of the shows out of the two. One was Mike, the documentary, which we liked on Hulu, which is fine. I think it ended its 8-episode run this week. It's good to watch. I recommend it. But the one I want to focus on is 5 Days at Memorial, the Apple Plus show.
Yes.
Yeah, the show that ended its run this week, 8-episode run. Of course, it's a show about the Hurricane Katrina, the events specifically at Memorial Hospital, where there was a lot of controversy with a lot of death and the means of how the death of these patients came to be. It's a big story nationwide back in 05, 04, whenever Katrina hit. Yeah, man, I really liked it starting off, and I liked it at the end. This is a really good show. Good recommend. Apple Plus, I shouldn't be surprised. It could maybe done with 7 or 6 episodes, and I wish maybe they could have intertwined the investigation along with what was happening at the time. Nitpicking up, but that being said, it was a really good show. I really like this a lot. It's hard hitting, not easy to watch. But Chewy, your thoughts on that?
No, I like I said, this was something I completely forgot about. To be quite frank, I didn't follow the trial. Obviously, there was so much going on at that time.
The focus was on
the
Katrina,
trial was
the aftermath.
Yeah. But not just but there was bigger things beyond just this hospital.
Well,
right? I mean, there was failures up and down. Sectors, government, private, public, people. I mean, you name it, it was a failure. And and so it was good to kind of see, get refreshed on what happened and see what actually happened as far as net result, right? I understand it's dramatized,
Obviously.
but the large swaths of events are fairly accurate and true. And obviously at the end, obviously no one got punished, at least the events at the hospital, and various reasons, why or why not. Louisiana is one of these states that's notorious for corruption in its justice system. Let's call it what it is, and things aren't necessarily fair, and no one has really paid the price for a lot of things that have hung on in that state. So, but it was good. It was good to see this, at least get the story out there and have that promote that discussion, right? Because it's not an easy decision when you're put in that situation. What do, right? Who needs to make the call?
Right.
It's
the right choice? It's a tough
choice?
decision, and who's to say whether, I mean, you can argue both sides, whether it's right or wrong in terms of what occurred and all that. I don't want to spoil it for those who haven't seen it or are unfamiliar with the story. But it's really good. If you guys are, this is one night. It's a good watch, really well made. So I would recommend Apple Plus as usual, giving us good stuff. Unlike my quarterback at this point in fantasy league. Oh, I gotta let that go.
Who's your quarterback? I don't even know.
Russell Wilson. He's killing me, man. Killing me, Smalls. But let's get that out of the way. Let's focus on the watch list. I'm sorry, guys. But let's start with the new stuff for this week. And the first one is a movie that came out on Netflix. We'll start with the movies, and that is Do Revenge. A movie, Camila Mendes, Latina. You gotta watch it. Of course, Maya Hawks, who's from Stranger Things lore, star in this one. This was it's kind of a Mean Girls mixed with Clueless kind of vibe to it. We have a couple of girls who go in the same school, both who were wronged at some point in their lives, and now they're seeking revenge, and they use each other to help exact that revenge on those who wronged them. I said for the first 5 minutes, I was about to turn this off. I really was.
Wow.
And I was like, I don't like where this is going. But then it settles in. And I kind of enjoyed it, surprisingly enough. Not a great film, but it's good. It's funny. It's got that very 90-ish vibes to it in terms of the movies that came out that time with the coming of age kind of stuff. And the music is great. And the movie, it's funny because the music's awful in the 90s, which is why I kind of get that vibe, perhaps, as long as the song choices go. But it's good. I mean, I like the relationship between the girls. It was good, well done. A little twist in the end I won't ruin towards the end, which I think was unnecessary. But that being said, they could have cut down 15 minutes of the film. But it was actually an entertaining watch. It's not great. It's a classic Netflix 60%er where it's just okay, right? It's a decent film. It's funny. If you like that kind of Clueless, Mean Girls kind of vibe, this one will be up your alley. So our select recommendation on my part. So I kind of enjoyed it. I know Chewy didn't get a chance to see that one this weekend.
No.
Speaking of things that I haven't got a chance to see because I don't watch this period, and that's the Handmaid's Tale. Not my kind of show. Wasn't for me.
Handmaid's
Tale. Handmaid's Tale, of course. This season 5 on I think dropping on Hulu this week. Chewy, I know you're a fan of the show. By all means.
Yeah, actually, I'm a big fan of the show. I've enjoyed it through all 4 seasons now. Now going to 5. So it's probably obviously with most shows there's up and downs between seasons. So I think this was back on the way up, and I think we're getting towards the end, right? I'm not sure how much longer this is going to go, but we're making progress to get to the end game. If you're a fan, I've been a fan. You're watching. If you haven't been, I'm not sure if it's too late to now jump in and try to catch up. It's a lot of TV.
Yeah, you're right. With 5 seasons, that's a lot to catch up on. And,
yeah. I mean, a couple seasons maybe, but not 5 seasons. I like. Oh boy, I mean, you really must either love the book or love the subject matter. And I'd say some of it is currently relevant to some of the events ongoing. So there's an extra layer that may push people to watch it and see. But no, it's well acted. It's obviously Emmy nominated up and down for various reasons, and so it's a good start to this season 5. And this is a weekly drop.
They dropped one episode.
So. They've dropped 2, but the next ones don't come out until every Tuesday and Wednesday. I can't remember.
I think it's Wednesdays. I think it's Tuesdays. Doesn't matter either way.
Oh, okay.
All right, the next one here, Vampire Academy. It's one of the first of the YA project. I guess Do Revenge is kind of a YA as well for the most part. So this one I had a short leash. Of course, it's based off a book. There was a movie before. I thought, I guess in the world where vampires obviously exist with humans, but they don't reside amongst humans. They have their own community, if you will, and there's different factions.
Its own little kingdom.
Their own, and there's just factions within this kingdom. You have those in the haves at the top, the royalty and all that, and you have the guardians in the middle, who are those who train to protect the haves, and then the community itself, and then there's other vampires who live outside the community who just eat vampires or kill vampires.
Those are the truly undead, right? What you would think of as a typical vampire.
Right. The story focuses on two girls, one of the royalty, one as one of the guardians, and the relationship, and a lot of stuff going on with the new regime about to occur. Because apparently vampires can die in a car crash. I didn't know that. So her brother died, who was going to be king. So now it's on her, and and people behind other things and maneuverings and yada yada yada. And unsurprisingly enough, I am off it. I gave it 2 episodes.
Why you
gave that many? I don't know why. I was like, there's nothing else to watch. All right, let me just stick with it. Maybe it gets better or whatever. I mean, I like vampire shit, right, when it's done well. But this to me was CW written all over it, right? And didn't Peacock just pay? It's almost like they filmed it for CW. Peacock picked it up and dropped it in the network. Even the music, they try to be hip, and oh my god, the hip music that doesn't match anything that's going on the screen, and it's YA, it's not my thing anyway. But it's poorly done for me anyway. I did not like this. I don't like CW stuff for various reasons and for good reasons. Chewy, your thoughts on this one?
No, you are 100% correct. This is CW on the Peacock. That's all we gotta say.
Yeah, and that just, if it works for you, if you like the CW stuff, by all means, this is up your alley.
Right. There's a lot of people that like the Riverdales and whatnot of the world, so that's fine. This is your thing, but it ain't for me. It ain't for you. Like I said, I can watch YA, but not when it's like this.
Yeah, it's dumbed down.
Dumbed down, I guess, for lack of a better word.
Like I said, if you like CW, again, if you have interest in CW, this is your show. Absolutely, give it a shot. You'll probably enjoy it more than we are. That's for damn sure. The next one, HBO Max show that I had not was aware of, and that is Los Espookys. Show's second season dropping. I told you, we talked about this last week. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna watch the first season, or at least begin to watch it, just to see if it's worth watching the second season, right? So this one here is basically, we have these. It's a Latin. It was a bilingual show, focusing more on the Latin side. So we gotta watch it. These kids who are fans of the horror genre and movie making, makeup, etc., who now find an opportunity to create a business, which they call Espookys, which they kind of create these horror parties or events or whatever is needed for their talents. They're hard to convince people that it's real, to put on parties, to so whatever. Makeup and it's cool tricks that they do.
It has a very Ed Wood look and feel to it, because it's like so bad.
It really, and it's like, I'll say this, and I gotta say, I'm not surprised. I don't know anything about the show, but I'm kind of enjoying it, to be honest with you. It's look.
No, even in spite of that, because even though it's fake, but there is a little bit of spooky elements that's on the outer edges, right? Because they're trying to put this show on, right? Make it pass as real to the audience or to the other characters within the show, but then they interject actually real, I say quotations, real ghost stories or some real ghosts or some supernatural things that are happening to their characters, outside of just their business, right? So you're trying to layer both things together. It is funny. It's it's
the kid with the blue hairs. He's awesome. He's just
he's hilarious. No, but the girl who comes off Hulu, she's always dressing up. I think this one in one episode she's dressing up as Shakira and trying to pass off as Shakira.
I think she did J-Lo in the last. I think so. I heard. So like I said, it's fun. Yeah. It shows. It's almost like a sketch comedy. A show, right? It's 30 minutes long, but it feels like a sketch comedy. So some stuff is absurd, it's stupid, it's ridiculous, and it's dumb. But it kind of works. It's got this charm about it, and it is kind of funny. I gotta admit, like, I'm interested in what's going on. And again, you have to have a certain sense of humor to enjoy the show. If you can just kind of let go and as far as suspend your disbelief with a lot of this stuff, you have a good time. It's actually kind of funny. I was actually enjoying it, so I'm gonna definitely continue to see season 2.
Yeah. One of the cameo characters, he's not one of the main characters, but it's he's been in SNL. I can't remember his name, but I know him from Eurochat. Espookys guy.
Is he Latino in the show? Which is kind of weird. It's no.
No.
Yeah.
He has. I mean, obviously, he has. Obviously, he lives in. The, I'm not sure if he's in the U.S. or not because he has an American wife, obviously with Latin roots. But most of the conversations are in English, right? Except
Right.
with his friends, he's talking
Good
in
show. It's funny.
Spanish.
I'm enjoying it. It's like I said, it's unique. It's
Mm-hmm.
different. But at 30 minutes is not a bad watch. And I'll probably pepper it in. I'll probably start the second season. The second season, I guess, Chewy. How many episodes dropped already? Is the whole thing? Oh, okay.
Yeah, it drops weekly, so
Okay,
only one
gotcha.
episode
Okay,
drops on Friday.
fair enough. So yeah, that one I do recommend. This next one here, I didn't watch it because I didn't see the first season. No, it's not for me. Maybe it's up Chewy's adding. That's Fate the Winx Saga. Of course, dropping it second season,
Mm-hmm.
if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, season two. I actually this is. I'm not sure if this is YA really, but I mean it's. I don't. I hate to put this in the same category as Vampire Diaries. That is not good. And so this is. I enjoyed season one, the fantasy magic elements involved, and so this is season two, and it's actually not a bad show. It's got a pretty big following out there on Netflix, and I think it's also
I
based on
wouldn't
a
be surprised,
book
but
or
yeah,
movies. I
it's
don't
not
know,
my thing,
whatever.
so I can't comment to the
Yeah,
quality of it.
yeah.
If it's better than Vampire Diaries and Academy or whatever, then okay, fine,
Oh,
good,
by
right?
far,
It
by
just
far.
doesn't have the
Yeah,
CW vibe.
yeah.
It's just very God. Peacock, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. The last one is Santo, a Netflix show, a Spanish show. This one is which I didn't know much about going into it. Otherwise, I seemed like it was going to be like a couple of cops chasing down a kingpin or whatever. But it's
Mm-hmm.
presented differently. It's not like your typical kind of, you know, cop procedural thing going after a drug lord, which you've seen a million times, right? The drug lord
Mm-hmm.
here is a guy named Santo, who is really no one has ever seen his face. No one knows who the hell he is. He's almost omnipotent to players because he knows everything that's going on. So I'm sure he's got a lot of birdies around everywhere. And he's into the occult, I
Mm-hmm.
guess. A lot of sacrificial
Yes.
sacrifices and kids and whatever to appease his gods and whatever. And he's got this people like cult like his followers, his people who work for him. And one cop who's in Brazil where Santos was, a cop in Spain where Santos ends up moving to
Mm-hmm.
Santo, and then that kind of have to work together. Two cops on opposite end of the spectrum. One is very hardcore, dedicated, idealistic. The other one is kind of corrupt, if nothing else. Now they're kind of working together, trying to bring this guy down. I like this one, man. I'm surprised I enjoyed it as much as I am. It's incredibly well paced. It really is a lot of stuff going on and moves at a good pace, and it's actually very interesting. Decent action. I like what's going on. I'm surprised. This is a good recommend for me. True, your thoughts?
No, I agree. It's very unique because there's a lot of
Yeah,
splashbacks. There's a
non-linear
lot of filling
storytelling.
in.
Mhm.
There's a 6 month jump in there, and he has a little bit of amnesia, so we're trying to fill in some of the pieces. It's part in Portuguese and part in Spanish. So if you don't in language,
I don't know
you got to do a
Portuguese,
lot
so
of
I'm
reading of
living hands reading.
subtitles because yeah, we got half at least. But so we're halfway there. But no, it's very
Yeah,
interesting.
very dark, very dark.
Fairly dark. And because so there's some scenes where they're kidnapping kids, and later we find out they were sacrificed. They find the bones and stuff. So there's not a very light show, but it's not your typical procedure. It's not typical take on a narco cartel leader. And so I think that's the unique factor, and a little bit global
Yeah,
element
yeah.
with it as
It's different.
well, going on in two continents. So that can add a different
Yeah,
flavor
so I'm saying if
to
you're
the
gonna
type
give
of
us
genre.
same old, give us something different, kind of, right? And this show does do that, right?
Hmm.
I really expected what we've seen 1,000 times. I was like, okay, fine, maybe it's good, right? And it's not a bad thing, but this gave us something different. I was like, all right, from
Hmm.
the first episode, you're like, this is not what I was
Yeah.
expecting, in a good way. And I was like, okay, I'm in.
Hmm.
And it's really, like I said, the pacing is great on the show. It really is surprisingly so. So high recommend. It's probably my highest recommend of the week. Probably the best show of the week that I saw anyway. I don't watch Handmaid's
Yeah.
Tale, but I'm sure
Good.
that's better. But that being said, yeah, for sure, this is one you guys should check out. It's a good show in there. Definitely, it's a light week next week, which we'll get to in a second. So this is one that guys can circle back on and all that. Unless you're like CW, you can
Hmm.
watch Vampire Academy, huh? Whatever. That being said, next week's not a big week. Not a big week. This is another week of breathing room. Catch up with some stuff. You guys can catch up some of the shows we talked about, like Mike, and of course, 5 Days at Memorial, Bad Sisters, of course, on Apple Plus as well. It's going very well. Um, She-Hulk, I guess, for some. But this week we got starting on Monday on NBC/Peacock. Peacock, we have Quantum Leap, the reboot of the 90s series starring Scott Bakula back in the show. I love Quantum Leap.
I don't know if reboot's the right word. I think this is
I
a
don't really know.
continuation.
I'm not sure if it's
It's
continuation
a better
or
term.
reimagining or...
Yeah, no, it's a continuation because this exists in the same year. This is literally 30 years later.
But it's a different...
after the end of the original.
Not Scott Bakula's character per se. Okay.
Well, no, because
I don't know if he
the
came
original
back.
character,
Right.
finished
They
and
could have written back
came
into
home.
the show,
Yeah,
whatever
came
the
back.
case is.
So that was the end.
Whatever it is, obviously, for those unfamiliar,
Mm-hmm.
it's a time travel show. It's a scientist who finds ways to travel within his own lifetime, and he enters a body and he can't find his way back home. But he has to just continue to travel back, and to do that, he's got to put right what once went wrong, something like that, right? When he fixes whatever is wrong in that timeline, he gets to jump again and goes to another body, etc., etc. So very interesting concept. So I used to love that show, man. So I have mixed feelings about the continuation of this and how they're gonna approach it. I don't know, but it comes out on Monday. I'm gonna check it out.
We'll see.
Probably one
We'll watch
anyway.
tomorrow. Yeah.
On Hulu the next day on Tuesday is Reboot. This is a comedy, right? I guess about it. Yeah.
Comedy. Well, yeah, a parody of all these reboots we've had over the last few years on both movies and TV shows. Just think of Saved by the
Full
Bell,
House, that kind of vibe.
and Full House. I mean now the 90s, 80s show, whatever, 70s show. All this stuff is being in a reboot, a golden age. And so this is just a parody of an original show, and they're bringing the cast together. Obviously, it's a make-believe show. We don't know what it's not actual reboot of any show we've seen, but it's just taking a parody of that, and obviously the situation with the characters. It's Hulu. They've done some good job with some of the dramas and comedies, a la
Wedding Season,
Murderers in the Building, and so that's right. Yeah, you really like that. It was really dark comedy. We finished that this week. Yeah. So I'm gonna give this a shot and see if it's funny and see if it's worth it. It should be probably 30-minute show off the weekly.
Paul Reiser is in this,
Johnny Knoxville. Oh, Paul Reiser, man. Hey,
no, he was great.
He was great in The Boys.
Come on.
Hey, he was sitcom royalty in the 90s.
Bad about you and Mike through that. He's been around a long time. Keegan,
that's right.
Michael Key's also in this as well, who I like. So it looks interesting. Looks really cool. That's on Tuesday. On the Wednesday, we got a couple of things. One on Disney Plus, that is Andor, the newest Star Wars show based on Andor, the character from Rogue One, which I've heard really good things about, and I'm actually surprisingly enough excited to see this. I don't know why. I shouldn't be.
Well, because we got nothing else, dude, and that's the sad state of affairs in the Star Wars. This may be the best Star Wars universe.
show. For whatever that's worth, take it for what it is.
Well,
I get it.
It's the only Star Wars show currently, so whatever that's worth. But well, no, that's fine. I mean, obviously, there's a character. I said agreed. I don't care. I don't. I was like, when I told you this for this, and I told you this for Obi-Wan, I don't care. If it's good, I'll watch. If it gives me Keystone Cops out of Obi-Wan, I'm gonna be really pissed.
It's a much darker tone show. Yeah.
Okay, well that's fine. Maybe this is the direction that Star Wars needs to take, because trying to keep this a kiddie, family friendly franchise
this looks more,
ain't working.
This is going in the opposite direction from what I hear. So I'm curious to see how the show turns out. 3 episodes dropping on this one on the 21st.
Yeah.
Then on that we got
But it is a sad state of affairs that when Disney acquired Star Wars, we were like all so gung ho and all having nerdgasms and left and right is going to be the greatest things in sliced bread. And look where it is now.
It's way
worse off than it was
before. They can only go up from here. Right? I mean, can you get any lower? Maybe you can.
It can get lower, because if we could only get rehash and reboot of stuff that we know how it's going to end. We know how this is going to end, because we saw Rogue One the movie, which is I
hate prequels.
This is not expanding the Star Wars universe. This is just staying in your lane. Kathy, Katie, stay in your lane. Don't draw outside the line.
I'm a prequel fan, but a couple of them, have done well in the past. They miss more than they hit. But whatever. I mean, it looks good. Whatever. We'll pass judgment upon watching.
I want to watch. I'll be happy.
Again on the 21st. Also, Netflix dropping a limited docu-series, Dahmer. Of course, Jeffrey Dahmer. documentary told from the perspective. That looks great.
That
From
I'm
the
looking
perspective of
forward
the
to.
victims,
Yeah.
some of the victims, or would be victims anyway, of Dahmer Garcia. He was infamous. If you guys haven't heard of him, this you probably want to get your eyes on this, right? Yes, guys,
Sick
he's twisted
individual.
as fuck. As you can imagine, right? He makes Ted Bundy look normal, as far as I'm concerned, and that guy was a wacko.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this looks very interesting, very
Yeah.
in depth, particularly talking to the actual victims.
And with
Yeah,
Evan
exactly.
Peters,
Yes, right.
aka Boner.
So it looks good. Looks really good. So I'm really interested in this one big time. So I'm excited about that. And I'll mention this the same day. Fine. All Thursdays. For the first time in a while, nothing's releasing on a Friday, which is very rare. So
Well, there is nothing
well,
of
I'm sure a
interest
couple things
for
I
us,
drop, but
but
nothing
I'm
that,
sure
that
there's some
stands
private
out. So if I
stuff.
see something, come on, I'll probably watch it because again, it's a light week, and some of these, I can probably watch
Yeah.
throughout the weekend. But Lego Masters is dropping. I know Chewy's favorite show. I don't care, but it's worth mentioning. Those who like some Legos in there, it's coming out.
I love me some Legos. I
Fair
love
enough.
watching Lego competitions and the creativity and the stuff. It is fun. It's
I
great
get it, and
family
I'm sure there's a
fun.
lot of fans just whatever, not
Period.
big onto the reality stuff. It is what it is, but not that I haven't really seen it, so I don't know if it's good or not. I'm sure it's fine, but that does come out on the 21st, so I like most of the things on Thursday. So again, a good weekend to just kind of relax, catch up on some old stuff. We'll probably be finishing up. I'm not sure if Bad Sisters is ending soon or not. It may be. I don't remember. But that being said, we'll circle back on that. So again, not a big week. But whatever, it's always things good to watch, catch up on a lot of the shows you haven't seen. There's a lot out there. People say nothing to watch is nonsense. It's just utter nonsense. There's plenty of stuff out there to catch, absolutely no doubt about it. But that being said, we'll talk about those next week. Of course, we'll probably do an episode on Saturday, not Sunday. Let Chewy know why in a minute. But that being said, so thanks again for joining us. I hear every Sunday. The watch list, subscribe, like, etc., etc. Recommendations of shows, let us know. Did you like our picks? Comment below as always. And we'll see you guys next week.